All right, my very first video review is Listen to the Lie by Amy Tintera. I think that is how you pronounce her name. If I said it wrong, I'm sorry. Selden Books sent me an advanced reader's copy of this. It comes out March 5th. It is a thriller, murder mystery, kind of has a podcast narrative to it. So I listened to the audio, so I also got an advanced audio of it. And it really does, there are entire chapters that read like a podcast. Podcasts are trendy. They're in a lot of books right now. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. They are, in a lot of books. So if you like that though, this is very fast. It's very well written. It's easy to follow. It was a solid 4-star read for me. And now I'm going to go a little bit into what the book is about and then a little bit of my reasoning behind the 4-star without giving away too many spoilers. I'm going to stay away from spoilers and just keep my opinions to a minimum, because I do feel like with thrillers, it's really easy to slip in something that could be a spoiler. So the book is about Lucy, our main character, who is accused of murdering her best friend, Savi, and doesn't get charged with it, but moves away from her small Texas town to get away from, all the rumors, all the people chatting about her and, thinking she murdered her best friend. She moves to Los Angeles where, she tries to start, a new life, essentially. There's some stereotypes about LA in here. The author does currently live in LA, and I think I looked up that she's originally from Texas. So I see those stereotypes. They weren't overdone though, so they did not annoy me. They were fine, they were comical, they were witty, it worked. Then anyways, fast forward, we're back in her small town in Texas, and Ben, is a podcaster wanting to interview Lucy about, her friend's murder and who did it. And Lucy kind of comes to terms with she can't remember anything from that night, but she also wants to find out who the murderer is. So she teams up with Ben, she starts doing interviews along with everyone else in this town and starts putting the pieces together of who the murderer was in her best friend's, death. And, there's a lot of suspects that you kind of start thinking, about 50 to 60% I did put together who I thought it was, but the author did keep me guessing pretty much throughout the entire book, so that worked. And honestly, the audio was great. It was super easy to follow. There are a ton of characters, but the chapters go back and forth between Lucy and Ben. Ben's chapter obviously being in the podcast format. So I do recommend listening to this one just because I do like listening to the podcast type format, especially for true crime lovers, right? It's a true crime podcast and Ben's kind of trying to bring light, to her murder, or maybe he's a suspect himself. So it was a fast read. I enjoyed everything about it except for one small thing. There is some spousal abuse in here. This isn't a spoiler, but if that is a trigger for you, that may be a trigger in the book, but it's not a forefront to the storyline and it's not the entire narrative. But I did want to throw that in there because it did catch my ear, and I'm not huge on sharing trigger warnings because everyone has their own opinion on things, and I don't want it to, discourage people from reading something. Unless there's an animal death in a book, I have to tell you and I have to DNF it, but I just won't be sharing those books because those are really disturbing for me. But yeah, other than that, I really liked this book. It was enjoyable, it was fast. It's got a good thriller murder mystery aspect to it. True crime fans, pick it up. Solid 4-star for me. I really enjoyed the listen, and yeah, let me know if you're going to be reading this one, if you're picking it up in March, if you're going to pass on this one, if you've already read it and you agree with me, disagree with me. Let me know in the comments. Again, subscribe March 5th, about 3 weeks away. Pick this one up.